everyone who took the time to watch my previous video. Oh my god, we're at 100 subscribers. I mean, yesu ni bwana. This thing, I started just with that leap of faith. Remember, Ruka, you don't even ask questions, so you just jump, and seeing it grow, to me, it's more of like a testament to, anyway, like a confirmation of this is what I should be doing with my life, and indeed I'm in the right path, and getting to share what I learned with you guys, it's immense, because at the end of the day, I feel like I've done what it is that I'm meant to do. After coming one person, I'm at 5 people telling me that they've been impacted, they've learned something, they've been encouraged, they now understand themselves better. Like, that's it. On today's video, hey, I decided let me just talk about a season that is very, very relevant to me right now, and it's called the waiting season. You know, like tunampanga, when you pray to God, God can give you 3 answers. It's yes, no, wait. It's not that it's a no, but just not now. And yes, I do appreciate the fact that before God gives you something that you've always been asking for, he prepares you for it, because he knows the character that you will have is what will help like sustain whatever it is that he's giving you for it to have longevity. However, I won't lie, it is so difficult to wait. Me nakwanga zile like mood swings za today I'm okay, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna praise Jesus in my circumstance. Another time I'm like, why not now? Like, why not so now? What I've learned is that there are 3 types of people in this waiting space. Either you're the complainers, basically you're frustrated with waiting, or you're the impatient one, like mbona come through sahi, like it's either who come through sahi, I'm on issue story imedai, like I got other things to do, not just waiting on this one particular thing. This is basically mostly you casting a tantrum, and then there's now where you're in a state of rest, and it's so difficult to rest. I didn't know it was this hard to rest. It's more of like you trusting someone else to take the wheel, and for me personally, that's so difficult to do. I'm the kind of person, I have to have my hands in almost everything that I do. So telling me to chill, and I'm like, it's not coming when I want it to come, because I'm a planner in my head. I'll plan from plan A to Z. I have backups for every plan that doesn't come through. So kuriambia, like, I throw every other plan to the wind and then trust on this person who is really taking their time to deliver. It's so difficult for me to do. Anyway, before I start rambling, let me just go straight on to this topic. I was feeling really, really frustrated and worn out because, okay, the whole coronavirus thing, social distancing, lockdown, and then you're just watching, like, now the like, it's like everything is coming to a standstill. Your routine has stopped, now you don't even know. So even why am I even trying to hustle at the end of the day? But then you remember you're still alive and life is going on, and you keep reminiscing back and thinking to every word that has ever been spoken to you, and you're like, yeah, no, God, I know you said you're gonna bring into completion every word that you said that is a promise to me, but it's hearsay to me so far. Like, it's just hearsay. I've not seen it materialize, and it got me down for a minute there. And so I was listening to one of someone's and someone was tagged the waiting in the waiting. So it's because I was trying to figure out, okay, now that things are not moving the way I wanted them to move, and they seem like they're not coming but the timelines I have set. So what am I supposed to do right now while I wait? Because it's not that because we're waiting, it's just meant to sit there doing nothing. Yeah, let's be realistic. If you don't go to work, if you don't do nothing, you're not gonna eat. So I was like, so now what do I do in this season of waiting? I learned, okay, fine, while I'm waiting, there's some things that I have in my hand. So it's more of like, what do I have kwa mikono zangu at this particular time that I can use right now? That aside, okay, I'm already utilizing that, but still the feeling of frustration is still hitting me, because I'm like, there has to be more. And in her sermon, Heather Lindsey now, she reminded me of Abraham and Sarah, and when they were told that they'll have a kid, and God told him he'll be a father to many nations and he will have his own son. And Abraham was like, okay, that sounds a good idea, but you know, like me, I'm old, so is my wife. And they waited and waited and waited, and I'm trying to imagine myself as Sarah. Like, miaka zinapita, like miaka 5 ndo hizo zimeenda, zingine 5 ndo hizo zimepita, like zingine 3 ndo hizo zina come through. Like, God bado uko sure God ni endo alikushow. So Sarah decided to take matters into her own hands and provide her maid servant to her husband, and that's how Ishmael was born. And And 13 years later, she still ended up, like, God ended up fulfilling whatever it is that he took. But 13 years. One thing that stuck with me was nothing is wasting before God. And he'll use everything for his glory. Including that season where you're like, I'm feeling frustrated because this thing is not what I've always visioned for myself is not what is happening, or rather you're like, God and a delay na Kenya show he'll come through for you and you're like, you're beginning to doubt and lose hope. But wow, granted, that is the devil's strategy, and clearly it's been working. And we forget the beauty in the process of waiting. Even I myself do sometimes forget, and I thank God because I have some friends who remind me of where God has taken me from. That way I'm able to be more appreciative of the now, because in the now I look back and I'm like, anyway, it's been progress to reach to where I am at. And those kinds of friends are the ones who help me be grounded and to like wake up and be like, stop murmuring and grumbling, like give thanks. He's brought you this far. He didn't bring you this far for him to leave you. Like the word says, will God cause you to be pregnant and to reach to a time of delivery only for you not to deliver a baby? That's impossible. That's not how he works. He's not a man to lie. He's one who, when he speaks, he's able to watch over his word for him to fulfill it. And even as I'm speaking right now, I myself am feeling encouraged, because at one point I was feeling so down. And then so I started wondering, okay, so clearly in the waiting process, what is being cultivated in me is trusting in God. And that sounds easy by word of mouth, but doing it is so difficult for me to trust, fully trust, like 100% kind of crazy faith. It's so difficult because and I think the one question that she asked was, what happened to you growing up that makes it so difficult for you to trust in God? Yet the Bible says in Romans 8:14 that we've been given the spirit of sonship, and through him we're able to cry out, Abba, Father. Abba meaning still Father, so we call him Father. And if he's my dad, why am I having a hard time trusting him? And it made sense to me, because some of us growing up, maybe your parents weren't one to live up to what it is that they promised you to do. It might sound silly, but as kids, you look up to your parents to be the ones to, like, they're your hero. And when they promise you something and they don't come through for you, or inaanza pole pole, oh, daddy nitakupeleka hapa, ama kama tunaenda hapa, and then you wake up the following morning, you're so excited, and then they're like, I'm not gonna go anywhere, and they don't even give you the explanation as to why, or they tell you, if you read ukichop ukwe hii namba tutakufanyia hii, you do that, like it doesn't come through. And I'm so sure many of us have been disappointed at one point in our life. So it does become difficult for you to trust in God and fully like give him the reins over your life and be like, you're the driver, me, I'm sitting at the passenger side or like behind you, just letting you like cruise me around wherever it is that you want. Because at the end of the day, I believe that your plans for me are good and not evil, meant to prosper me, to give me a future and a hope. That sounds good to say, but the reality kwa grao ni different, because it's so difficult. But then I'm encouraged by that word, because if God doesn't waste anything, including the season of waiting where you've been waiting for that husband, boyfriend, like nobody's even saying hi to you, you've been waiting for that job, you've been waiting for that promotion, you've been waiting, to make that investment and see some returns, and you've been waiting to finally begin to have a platform, and it's never come through. Like, it's difficult, but don't forget this points as to the reason as to why you're in waiting, and you need to enjoy the process in itself. So yes, the waiting teaches you to trust in God. It's meant to build your character. The waiting is meant to help you build a foundation for your purpose, and the foundation means if you're having an intimate relationship with God, then it's him who will be giving you like more Kenya of how to maneuver through life, and you'll be acing it on top, because at the end of the day, he's the one who's guiding you. It teaches you to focus on your own race. You won't compare. Like, if there's one thing the waiting season will teach you, don't compare. Because once ukiingia tu kwa hiyo mlango ya kwanza kucompare, you won't come out. Because Your friends are far much ahead of you, your classmates are far much ahead of you, your neighbors are far much ahead of you, and you're just there. It reminds me of that story of the donkey that wasn't used, that Jesus used to enter into Jerusalem. The donkey wasn't being used by the owner. So even when Jesus was telling the disciples to go get it, he was like, go tell this man to give me this donkey, because he wasn't using it. And I'm imagining the donkey representing a person, imekaa tu hapo haiutiliziwi, beshte zake ndio wanaenda, like kuchota maji, au ndio wanabeba wase, like anaona every other donkey neighbor yake, beshte yake, like maisha yao inasonga, yetu anafeel kama stagnate, hasongi. But there shall come a time when the Lord will open the chapter of your life and things will start moving like this. So the question is, in your waiting, were you preparing for the speed at which things will come? Because Mungu moves from 0 to 100. And then another thing waiting teaches you is to be contented with what you have at that particular time, and to give God praise for it. Where I am in my life, career-wise, it's not where I would want to be, neither is it where I saw myself being, but I am grateful for today. He's provided for me what I need for today. The rest will come as I go along, as he prepares me for whatever he's taking me. He will add on to what it is that I need at that particular time. Hebrews 6:15 says, then Abraham waited patiently, and he received what God had promised. And when you go back to their story, not being obedient in your waiting season will cost you. And it did, because Sarah felt like God had taken too long, and she did what she had in her head to be able to, like, hasten the doing of the Lord, air quotes. And some of us hasten things and then we attach the name of the Lord to them, and he wasn't really involved to begin with. And it costs you to birth something that is a counterfeit, not the real deal. You will get what it is that you were working for, but it wasn't essentially what God had in mind for you. So it's a counterfeit of what God had for you. And it cost them, because to date, Isaac and Ishmael are always at war. Had she waited, maybe we wouldn't be facing. So before I make this video into something that is so long, I hope what I learned encouraged you in as much as it encouraged me as well, to keep on pressing on and to holding on to the steadfast promises of God, and to just cling on to them, even if it's by the thread, like the hem of the garment. Hata kama tu, like, you're almost letting go, but just shikilia hata kama tu ni ako ka thread kanguo ka Yesu tu, just ishikilie, because at the end of the day, the bitter pill to swallow is, for you to be used by God, there's a process of crushing that has to happen. And the aim usually is to bring you into alignment with him. That way you and him are one in mind, in spirit, in vision, in speech. Like, everything about you mirrors everything about Christ. And gold doesn't fear fire, because it knows it'll come out very fast. That being said, please don't forget to like the video if you find it to be very useful to you. Share, and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Share it and tell your friends to subscribe, and do have yourself a wonderful week. Bye bye.